Cold merlet slid down my forehead, traced the bridge of my nose, and soaked into my collarbone as my sister Kira stood over me, the empty bottle raised like a trophy she'd won. Glassy smile. Chin high. Practice cruelty. You have until sunrise to get out of my house, she hissed. Across the table, our parents Helen and Grant clapped. Actually clapped. Soft applause, like they were congratulating a performance instead of witnessing an assault. 20 years of scapegoating, distilled into one sticky, humiliating moment. I took a breath. Slow, deliberate. Then I reached into my blazer, pulled out a brass key, and placed it gently on the linen tablecloth. Then you have 60 seconds, I said, to save your future. Silence slammed down hard enough to ring. Kira's jaw worked as if she were chewing glass. Before she could spit something sharp, I raised my hand. 3 months ago, I said, at grandmother Rosalind Vale's funeral while you were live streaming your grief, something happened. Their faces flickered. Confusion first, then annoyance, then curiosity, the kind that always betrayed them. The room smelled like spilled wine, lemon polish, and lies. It had been a gray March afternoon. I remembered sitting alone in the back row of the chapel, hands folded, eyes dry. They'd posed in the front pew, coordinated outfits, tragic expressions carefully calibrated for the cameras. After the service, her attorney Arthur Bloom, silver hair, wire-rimmed glasses, voice like velvet over steel, had angled me into a side room. Miss Mara Ellis, he murmured, closing the door. Your grandmother updated her will 6 months ago. He handed me a thick envelope. Heavy, final. You're the executor of her entire estate, he continued. $3.2 million, portfolios, properties in Colorado and California, and one clause that requires your attention. The clause had made my pulse skid. Any relative who showed hostility toward me would forfeit their inheritance, completely provided I documented it. Back at the dining table, Kira sneered. You expect us to buy this funeral fairy tale? I expect you to read, I said. I unlocked my phone and swiped through photos of the will. Then videos, then timestamps. Evidence collected quietly over 90 days. Grandmother watched how you treated me, I said. So did I. Helen shifted in her chair. Mara, stop embarrassing yourself. Embarrassing? I dabbed wine from my cheek. Kira just hit me while you applauded. That's Exhibit A. I tapped the brass key. 60 seconds is now 45. Grant shoved his chair back, mouth opening and closing like a fish. That's impossible, he said, but the color had already drained from Kira's face. I set my phone flat on the table. The screen glowed with bold text. Hostility forfeits shares. Documented. Time stamped. I scrolled. Bruised wrists from the night Kira blocked the door. An audio clip of Helen calling me a parasite. Video footage of tonight's bottle arcing through the air. Kira rasped. Grandma adored me. She adored performance, I replied. You were the matinee. I lifted the brass key. And this is the master key. Because last month, I bought this house. I slid a folder across a spreading wine ring. Deed transfer. Silverfinch Properties. My LLC. Your third mortgage defaulted, I said calmly. The bank preferred cash. The chandelier hummed overhead. Helen whispered. We gave Kira this house free and clear. She gave it away 3 times, I replied. Boutique. Startup. Crypto scheme. Essential oils. The bank had filed foreclosure. I'd finished it. For 4 weeks. I continued. I've let you stay here rent-free while I gathered what the will requires. Kira lunged for the papers. I pulled them back. Oh, and the basement guest suite? I added. Illegal rental. 2 years of undeclared income. The reviews don't lie. Grant sagged. We can be reasonable. Reason left with the cork, I said, tapping the shattered bottle. I set another envelope between the plates. 30 days notice. As owner, I'm kinder than you were to me at 16. Seconds bled off my watch. The room shrank to heartbeat and ticking. Kira's phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. What happens if we apologize? She whispered. You start acting like family, I said. But the will doesn't negotiate with violence. 10 seconds. Kira swallowed. What's part 2 of your surprise? I smiled. Evidence. I placed my tablet on the table and opened the security app. The dining room camera replayed tonight. Then I scrubbed back to last Tuesday. Kira, using a spare key, rifling my desk, pocketing Rosalind's pearls, slicing the bag address. An audio clip followed my parents at this very table, plotting a fake surgery for cash. Helen pressed her napkin to her mouth. Grant stared at his hands. Kira's bravado leaked away, pooling at her feet. I recorded what you chose, I said. The clause demands proof. I slid 2 documents forward. Option 1, I said. I file everything. Will enforcement, eviction, police reports, tax issues your accountant ignored. And option 2, you sign acknowledgements. Enter therapy, make restitution, and stop lying about me permanently. Kira's gaze drifted to the brass key, then to the green shards of glass. What happens to me? You forfeit Rosalind's bequests. You return what you took. And you apologize to every neighbor you poisoned with stories about my instability. The clock ticked. Finally, Helen whispered, I'm sorry. Grant nodded. We'll sign. Kira's chin trembled. I was cruel, she said. I wanted to be the shining one. I'm sorry, Mara. The apology landed like rain on droughted earth. Not enough to heal, but enough to begin. I gathered the agreements. Then sunrise. Isn't a deadline, I said, standing. It's a start. I pocketed the key and looked around the house I own now. Crown molding, scuffed floors, new weather moving in. Terms, I said. 30 days to vacate. 90 for restitution. Weekly therapy. No contact unless respectful. Break it, and I file. No one argued. The grandfather clock struck 9. For once, I wasn't the scapegoat. I was the author. I chose an ending that freed.